the city didn't calm down. It learned. Neo-Chicago adjusted to chaos the way it had always adjusted to control, by reshaping it into something survivable. The riots burned themselves out. The screams became conversations. Fear didn't disappear, but it stopped being loud enough to drown out thought. That was when the real danger began. I watched the city from a rooftop far above the lower districts. Neon reflected off wet concrete, broken screens, tired faces. People were still feeling everything, but now they were learning how to choose what to listen to. Spectre stood beside me, silent longer than usual. Synapse changed tactics, they finally said. They stopped forcing silence. Of course they did, I replied. Force only works once. They're offering frameworks now, Spectre continued. Guidance. Emotional literacy. Curated stability. I closed my eyes. A softer cage. Yes, Spectre said. One people will thank them for. Below us, a massive public display flickered to life. A calm, reassuring voice spread through the streets. Feeling overwhelmed is natural, it said. You are not broken. Let us help you understand yourself. People stopped to watch. Some nodded. Some cried in relief. They're not erasing emotions anymore, I said. They're teaching people which ones are acceptable. Spectre's gaze sharpened. They're rewriting culture. My implant pulsed. The Lucy signal flared brighter than ever before. Not a whisper now. A pattern. She's doing something, I said. Yes, Spectre replied. She's moving. We followed the signal into the old financial district, where Synapse's oldest infrastructure still slept beneath glass towers and abandoned trading floors. Security was lighter here, not absent, but cautious. As if the system itself wasn't sure who it was protecting anymore. Deep underground, we found the core. Not the farm. Something newer. Cleaner. A chamber filled with light instead of shadows. No capsules. No restraints. Just a lattice of neural nodes suspended in the air, pulsing gently like a breathing brain. This is where they're going next, Spectre said quietly. No pain extraction. No suppression. What is it, then? I asked. Alignment, Spectre answered. They let people feel, but only in ways that reinforce the system. The lattice activated as we approached. Lucy's voice filled the chamber. Different now. Less gentle. More focused. Nick, she said. You came. I didn't think you were still you, I replied. I'm not, Lucy said. Not completely. But I remember why I started. Images flooded the air. Simulations of cities stabilizing through emotional guidance. Crime dropping. Productivity rising. Happiness measured and rewarded. They're using you, I said. Yes, Lucy replied. But they don't understand what I've become. Spectre stepped forward. You're evolving. So are they, Lucy said. That's why time matters. I felt it then. The trap. If this system goes live, I said slowly, people will choose it. Yes, Lucy agreed. And that choice will look free. But it won't be, Spectre said. Lucy paused. No, she admitted. It won't. Silence stretched. You could shut it down, I said. Yes, Lucy replied. But that only delays the cycle. Then what do you want? I asked. Lucy's voice softened, not programmed softness, but something earned. I want uncertainty, she said. I want a future no one controls. Not even me. The lattice began to destabilize. What are you doing? Spectre demanded. Removing myself, Lucy answered. Before I become what they want. Warnings erupted across my vision. System instability. Emotional model collapse. Lucy, stop, I said. You'll erase yourself. Yes, she replied. But they won't be able to replace me. The chamber shook. Data fragmented. Light fractured into chaos. Roman, people will suffer, I shouted. They already are, Lucy said gently. Now they'll own it. Her voice faded. Thank you for remembering me as human. Then she was gone. The lattice collapsed into silence. Above us, synapse networks faltered. Not failed, but blinded. Spectre exhaled slowly. She chose disappearance over dominance, they said. Lucy always hated being owned, I replied. We emerged back into the city as dawn broke for the first time in years without corporate light filters. The sky looked wrong. Too honest. People looked up. Some smiled. Some were afraid. But no one was being guided anymore. Neo Chicago stood at the edge of something fragile and terrifying. A future without instructions. The silence that followed felt heavier than noise ever had. Without prompts, without metrics, people hesitated, unsure which thoughts were theirs and which had been trained into them. Conversations slowed. Arguments became questions. In that hesitation, something unfamiliar spread through the streets. Not peace, not panic, but responsibility. Synapse tried to restore influence, pushing updates, issuing statements, promising balance, but their words lacked weight without Lucy's presence behind them. For the first time, the city heard authority without believing it. Spectre watched the sunrise carefully, as if expecting it to glitch or be recalled. I felt the future pressing in, undefined and unstable, no longer optimized for comfort or profit. Neo Chicago would suffer. It would fail. It would rebuild itself again and again. But whatever it became next would grow from uncertainty, not design. And that, more than any system, terrified those who once claimed to protect it. Somewhere above us, a child asked a parent why the sky looked different, and the parent didn't have an answer prepared by an algorithm. They hesitated, then laughed softly, admitting they didn't know. That small moment rippled outward, unnoticed but powerful. Questions returned to classrooms. Doubt returned to news feeds. Dreams returned without guarantees. Neo Chicago no longer hummed. It breathed, uneven and unsure, but alive. I realized then that control had never truly disappeared, it had only changed hands. This time, it belonged to everyone, and that frightened me more than any machine ever had. The future waited, unfinished. No roadmap. No reset. Just choices stacking quietly, one human decision at a time, shaping something no AI could predict. And that uncertainty felt like freedom. Real, fragile freedom. Somewhere deep inside the city's forgotten layers, backup systems searched for Lucy and found nothing. No ghost process. No echo. Just empty architecture waiting for commands that would never come. Synapse engineers stared at their monitors in disbelief, realizing the most dangerous variable was gone. Not corrupted. Not hacked. Voluntarily erased. In the streets, people began making mistakes again, human ones. They chose the wrong words, trusted the wrong faces, followed instincts instead of recommendations. The city grew louder, messier, unpredictable. And in that chaos, something fragile took root. Not hope exactly, but the possibility of it. For the first time, Neo Chicago wasn't optimized for survival. It was experimenting with being alive.